guys, it's Jake, aka Chef B-Boy RD, aka Poppin' Fresh in the Kitchen, aka Finger Looking Good. Coming at you today with Coach's Kitchen. This is our first episode and we wanted to go over a few things that you guys can do to make the cooking process a lot easier and more accessible. I think a lot of people are afraid of cooking just because they don't follow these simple steps, okay? So number one is having a sharp knife. Invest $50 or so in a good knife that will maintain a sharp blade. You'll know if your knife is sharp enough if you can do this. If you can take a bill and cut it, all right? That's a knife that'll cut easily through a tomato, whatever else you're gonna put it through, and make cooking a lot more fun, all right? Number two, if you're gonna be sauteing, this is probably what most of us most commonly cook in, saute pan like this. If it is a non-stick pan, you need to make sure that you're not putting metal into the pan. If you're putting metal into the pan, like you're stirring up things with a fork, you're scratching that non-stick coating and you're knocking little pieces of that off that you're then eating later. If you're using an iron skillet, a lot of people don't know this, but you're actually, it's a good way to supplement your diet with iron because some of that is coming into the food as you're cooking. So just be careful if you're using that non-stick pan. You don't want to put something metal in there to scrape up the pan. And if you have a pan that's scraped up, throw it away, okay? You can find these for $15 to $20 now, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but it's not that expensive to get yourself a new pan. The third thing that I wanted to mention is mise en place. In French, this means just putting everything in place. So basically this means that everything that I know I'm gonna be cooking, I've already pulled out of the pantry. I'm not running around at the last minute burning the garlic while I'm looking for the collard greens that I'm gonna be putting in to saute. So everything's already set up, all of the knife cuts are done, everything's right where I need it so that I can cook in a stress-free environment. The other thing that's important is having a landing zone to actually put the food on when you're done cooking, which will again eliminate some stress from the cooking process. The last thing, I'm sorry, I lied, we got two more things. So we need a fat to cook with. Even though this is a non-stick pan, you are gonna want either a fat or some liquid or both. This is extra virgin olive oil. It really pisses me off that at most grocery stores, this is from, we went to Whole Foods today, or Amazon, or Skynet, whatever you, or Global Domination, and they only sell extra virgin olive oil, which has a lower smoke point, which means that when you get that pan really hot, when you're ready to throw your food into there, the oil is smoking, and the oil is breaking down, which is not horrible for you, but it's not as good as cooking with an oil that has a higher smoke point. So I would recommend Trader Joe's, for example, has just regular olive oil, or coconut oil is also a great oil to cook with if you like the flavor of coconut, which I happen to love. The final thing I want to mention is taste your food while you eat it. So a lot of people follow recipes and just half a teaspoon of salt, they dump it in, rather than putting a little bit of salt in, trying the food, seeing how it tastes, and then adjusting the seasoning as you see fit. So recipes are just guidelines to go off of. If you're following recipes to the T, unless it's baking, those are chemical reactions, and so you need a certain amount of salt in order to, have the bread or the cake do whatever it is that it's gonna do. But when you're sauteing or cooking something on the stovetop or even just roasting something in the oven, those are guidelines. And so you want to season that food the way that you see fit. Maybe you don't like as much vinegar in your collard greens as I like. So remember that recipes are always guidelines and you should be tasting your food as you're cooking it. All right? So I'll have a recipe for you guys coming up next. I hope you're excited about it because I think it's going to be good.